Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina y el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin ti naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I am your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Mr. Perez is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here in Puerto Vallarta. Those are the Lapa Lapa, the El Dorado Beach Club, and at night the El Dorado transforms into the ever-so-romantic Vista Grill, with dramatic views of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors. And of course, at Lapa Lapa, you can enjoy that same view of the Los Muertos Pier all day long for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week, we're going upriver, going up the Rio Cuale in Puerto Vallarta to the town of Paso Ancho and to Paso del Guayabos. We're going to go visit two restaurants. One is El Rio BBQ, and the second one is a restaurant called Moro Paraiso. But first, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 18th of April, 2018. The Puerto Vallarta Botanical Garden has been nominated to be in the group of the top 10 best in North America. And I have a news flash from Bob Price at the Vallarta Botanical Garden, and it reads, "We've been nominated. Vote for Vallarta Botanical Garden in USA Today's 10 Best Botanical Gardens in North America contest. You can vote every day through April 30th using the link below. We are currently in third place. Please vote. And we are the only botanical garden in Mexico to have been nominated." And I have a link to that in the show notes for this episode. So get over there to my website at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. Find this episode, click the link, and vote. Vote every day until April 30th. All right. Celebrate Earth Day at Lazaro Cardenas Park, you guys, this Sunday, the 22nd of April. You need to come and join in the fun and celebrate Earth Day by cleaning up Lazaro Cardenas Park, Parque de los Azulejos. Pick up trash, pick up cigarette butts, do some beautifying, and it's just a great way to meet new people and some old people and some friends, and of course to support the beautification of Lazaro Cardenas Park. So come on down at 10 in the morning. This Saturday, there is a 50 peso suggested donation, which of course will go to the park and bring more money. 50 pesos, come on, that's nothing. There'll be bags and gloves and coffee and fun in the sun. And so anyway, that's this Sunday, the 22nd of April. And if that date rings a bell for you, it's because it's JR's birthday bash. That's right. So if you're going to be in town, you need to go over to Que Pasa and get rocked and rolled by Sylvie and the Zippers. And, you know, you got to help JR celebrate his 78th birthday. The fun's going to start at 5 in the afternoon. So, well, some would call that evening, but hey, with the sunset coming in at 8:20, you can actually start your day at the park. And then go off and have some lunch and party at the beach during the day. And then at 5, take a walk up to Que Pasa and party with JR and Sylvie. And you'll even have time to catch a Puerto Vallarta sunset from your favorite spot. I mean, that sounds like a great day, you guys. I have a flyer in the show notes, so just make sure you stop in and wish JR a really happy birthday. JR, I'm really sorry. I'm not going to be in town, but I'll catch you next month, dude. I've got an email from a friend of the show. You know him. His name is Skip. And Skip is my human guinea pig. He takes the things that I suggest and he does them. Imagine that. He writes, Barry, I emailed you a couple of weeks ago about my month stay in the PV area this past February and wrote about the online FMM that proved so helpful. That's the FMM form is the immigration form that you need to fill out when you enter Mexico. And so this is that form that we actually have a link for online. I'll put it in the show notes for this one too. But it's something that you can download and just print out and have it before you even get on the plane. It's pretty cool. Anyway, he says, today I want to give you a trip report for my hike to Las Animas beach from Boca de Tomatlán. I took the hike with my sister-in-law's husband, Wayne, during their 1-week stay with us in our Airbnb condo in Nuevo Vallarta. Wayne is a great hiking companion and likes a good adventure as well as I do. Because of the limited time Wayne had in PV, we decided to take an Uber from Nuevo to Boca. No luck with that. Uber service in Nayarit in the Bay Area is not very reliable. Hey, we talked about that, you guys. Remember, they won't pick you up in Nayarit, okay? Anyway, Wayne decided to pay for a taxi ride instead of the bus in order to save some time. We arrived in Boca after a 45-minute ride. Boca is a beautiful little town, and we explored it briefly before beginning the hike. We used the bathroom there, as you advised, and began our hike at 9:15 in the morning. We passed through the front yards of the casitas directly on the path. I said, Buenos dias, which was cheerfully returned to me by the unseen women in their residence. I felt a bit self-conscious, like a trespasser, but it seems the locals are accustomed to it. Yeah, it's kind of funny. You walk past these people's houses. It's strange, you guys. Okay, he continues. We met 2 other groups traveling in the same direction towards Las Animas Beach. Both groups were somewhat younger than us, and we encouraged them to pass us, which they did. There are a lot of great photo opportunities on the hike, and Wayne and I took a lot of pictures. Parts of the hiking path are quite primitive, not something we would consider a safe hike in the U.S., but we took our time and had no problems. Most of the concerns I had were going downhill, though the uphill climb was occasionally quite steep. I had downloaded the iPhone app Galileo Pro and the Mexico Maps, as one of your listeners had recommended, and found it useful to monitor our progress on the hike. The GPS app was even more useful in finding locations in Old Town that I wanted to visit. Yeah, I'll try to find that. That was something that we talked about with Ray and Sherry. And so, yeah, that's a great app. I'll see if I can find that. I'll get a link in the show notes for that. Okay. He continues, we arrived at Las Animas Beach just before 11 a.m. and saw one of the couples who had passed us earlier on the trail. They said all of us had arrived within 5 minutes of each other. We joined them at their table and enjoyed a delicious and affordable lunch of huchinando, which is red snapper, rice, beans, tortillas, and beer. After lunch, we 4 shared a panga ride back to Boca. We parted ways with our companions. They were taking another panga to Los Muertos Pier, and we walked to the bathrooms and then to the sitio for a taxi. After waiting for about 20 minutes, not seeing a taxi, I walked into a tienda and bought a small bag of limes. We were getting short of them at the condo, and I asked the proprietor about the taxi situation. He said that there is a sitio, but that the taxis are not that common there. He recommended that we hike up the hill and take the bus. This made sense since we needed to get ourselves and our limes home for cocktails with the wives. So less than 5 minutes after we climbed to the top of the hill, an orange and white bus stopped and a couple passengers departed. I stuck my head in and asked Puerto Vallarta, and he replied yes, and Wayne and I boarded. I paid the driver for both of us. The driver had an open box of coins to make change, and I was not planning on taking the bus, so I paid with a 100 peso note. He gave me my change, but no receipts. We took a seat on the driver's side, a couple rows back to avoid the handicapped seats immediately behind the driver, and to take advantage of sitting on the bay side on the ride north. Very smart, you guys. The windows were all partway down on the bus, and we started on our ride into the city after a couple more passengers boarded. The bus remained at Boca for 10 minutes or less. The bus made lots of stops in front of every hotel, as well as at bus stops. At 3 different stops, musicians boarded the bus and entertained us. I am a huge fan of live music, and this music was indeed lively. We were sung to by a young husband with his wife playing an instrument with a crank, a less memorable crooner, and the best singer of all, he was a blind singer who expertly navigated through the bus using the overhead bar. The pesos I received in change from the bus fare was used to tip those musicians. Our next bus to Walmart had only one singer. We had a 15-minute wait at Walmart until the ATM bus to Rio Nuevo Vallarta arrived, and we each enjoyed a large cup of watermelon. It was at this point Wayne told me that he had left the limes that I had bought in Boca on the last bus. I called him a dumbass, and I asked the watermelon guy if I could buy a dozen limes. He smiled and he said he would give us a dozen, which he did. The ATM bus was air-conditioned and somewhat more comfortable than the city buses, but much less memorable. Wayne and I and the limes arrived back in Nuevo at the Kite Towers condominium in time for cocktails. It was a memorable day and a lot of fun. Thank you again for all your tips and advice that helped make our month so memorable. I plan to send you more trip reports as time permits. Sincerely, Skip from Minnesota. Okay. Thank you, Skip. Thank you. I'm glad you had a great time. Those bus rides are priceless, dude. I mean, you never know what kind of entertainment you're going to get. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's just god-awful. But every once in a while, you're just going to be blown away, you guys, by the talent that wanders on those rattle traps. Now, as for the Uber situation, you found out, and that Uber does not operate in Nuevo Vallarta. They don't pick up in Nayarit, which is the state above the Ameca River, just north of the airport. So other than to drop you off from a ride originating in Jalisco, in Puerto Vallarta, Uber is dead to you if you're over in Nuevo, okay? But good for you, Skip. Now, most people that, are in Nuevo, they never venture out of their condos and their timeshares or downtown for that matter. So you made it all the way down to Boca de Tomatlan, and you even took a hike. So it sounds like you really had a great time. So thank you, Skip. Thanks for your report. And please write more when you've got some time. And remember, if you have a report or if you have any questions or suggestions for what you want to hear about, on the show, all you have to do is just click on that Contact Us tab at the top of the website, and you can contact me through Facebook or even my YouTube channel, for goodness sake. I mean, I am really easy to get a hold of. I'm a real estate agent, okay? You can even call me, all right? So just do like Skip does and just reach out to me, okay? All right. Now, let's get on with this. There are places that are so close to the hustle and bustle of the south side and the downtown area of Puerto Vallarta that many of us forget how close the jungle really, really is. On my first trip to Puerto Vallarta, this was back in 1984, I remember walking out of our hotel. We were staying at the Hotel Playa Los Arcos, And I remember hanging a left down Olas Altas and walking over to Lazaro Cardenas Park. That's the park. I mean, that's before they dug it up, of course, and put in an underground parking structure. This is the old Lazaro Cardenas Park. But anyway, there was this cowboy there who had a couple of horses, and he used to hang out there. And I remembered him. His name was Jesus, and he was a real cowboy. He had a bad eye, but he had some really nice, healthy horses. And Debbie, who loves horses, said, "Come on, honey, let's take a ride." So, of course, we hired him, and he took us on a ride up the Rio Cuale. And we rode for about an hour and a half in each direction. This was a long time ago. This is way before they did all this development up there. And looking back, he took us to where we're going to be heading today. Our first stop is El Rio BBQ Bar. And this restaurant is located along the Rio Cuale in a place called Colonia Paso Ancho. Now, from downtown, you can actually catch a bus, the 04 bus, and you can enjoy your ride up along the Rio Cuale. It winds along the Riviera del Rio, through the colonias of El Romance and Buenos Aires, and goes past Benito Juarez Colonia, and then to Paso Ancho. And these are just little Mexican neighborhoods on the outskirts of Puerto Vallarta. You're going to hear my guest Kurt talk about the place where his restaurant is, but you need to experience the ride. And you can, actually. You can catch my YouTube video that I made a couple years back with my wife and my twin brother and sister-in-law. And I have a link to it in the show notes for this episode. So you can check that out and just see what the route is like. But when you get on the bus, you want to tell the driver that you want to stop at El Rio BBQ. And the bus will drop you off right in front of the place. You go beyond that front gate and you enter an entirely different world. You'll notice right in front of you is the bar, and then there are various seating areas. There's seating area up in the bar area with tables and whatnot, but the part that stands out the most is the area just above the river where they have some beach chairs and tables. They're all set up in the sandy area. And then there's this incredible rock wall that rises up from the river and just soars over your head. It's just wonderful. And this beautiful area is right in front of a stage where live bands perform almost, well, I guess 4 or 5 times a week during the high season. And it's just a stunning location. But I need to stop talking here. We need to hear the story about this place from the owner of El Rio BBQ in Paso Ancho, Kurt Sinner. And we also have his master barbecue chef, Hollis Harris. So let's go right now to El Rio BBQ in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Hey, Kurt. Thanks for inviting me here to Rio BBQ.
Bienvenidos, Barry. It's nice to have you up here at El Rio.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, I'm originally from Portland, Oregon. It was a long path here. I came down to actually this area, Paso Ancho, Puerto Vallarta, where El Rio BBQ is located, and I came down now 38 years ago.
Whoa, 38 years.
38 years
what was
ago.
it like 38 years ago, Kurt?
Well, it was really nothing more than a rancho. There are now buildings and houses and bodegas, and of course El Rio BBQ Bar is here. So the road ended just past where the restaurant is, and it was a horse trail on up the river.
I'll bet I went up that once or twice, as a matter of fact.
You may have.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the history of this place. I mean, this is an incredible spot. You've got these soaring cliffs up over the stage area where people sit by the river. I mean, it's paradise, dude. So you were living up here, so that's how you found it, I'm sure. How'd you land the spot?
Yeah, you're right. I purchased some property up here in 1995, but it's a piece of land that I had known since I had first come down here. And this particular property where El Rio was located was well known among the local community as a place called La Huerta. And when I first saw it way back in the day, prior to the very first restaurant that was here, it was a coconut grove down below, and this was just still part of the jungle where we're currently seated under our rooftop comedor.
Okay. And you had the idea at that point, I'm going to build something. I want to do something.
No.
No?
No.
When did that come around?
Well, when I finally moved down here, I was a school teacher, and I was bringing students on supposedly cultural exchange trips to Mexico in the late 80s and early 90s. And so I of course, I knew of this place, and I'd purchased my house. And I originally got involved in business down here by helping a couple of Mexican friends of mine start a restaurant on the beach.
Ah, okay. So did you work that restaurant, or you just kind of helped them get it going?
At first, I helped them out financially. And then 3 years after we got that off the ground, I hit that late midlife crisis, 50 years old, and I decided to come down and throw my hand in it as well. And we ran it for 7 years. The restaurant on the beach was called Época, and located in Olas Altas area.
Okay.
And so when we closed that restaurant, I was still kind of unsure what was going to happen. At that point, I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew of this location, and so I approached the property owners and gave them my pitch, and before I knew it, it had landed in my hands.
All right. And then from there, you've obviously done a lot of work on this place. Was it something that you did all at once? Was it something that you gradually put together? How did that go?
I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it once I decided to rent it. In fact, I brought up a couple of friends that are in the restaurant business that I respect. Bill Carvalho from Barcelona Tapas.
Yeah, nice guy.
And he was the one that encouraged me to just go ahead and take the place without really knowing what we were going to do. And then another good friend of mine, Joe Jack from Joe Jack's Fish Shack, walked in with me a week later, and we were looking around because I knew we couldn't do the concept we had at the beach. We had a lot of mariscos and fish and that type of thing. And I'd like to take credit for the concept of barbecue, but he's actually the one that threw the word out there. And as soon as he did, all the lights went on, and I thought of my good friend Hollis Harris up in Portland, who has been in barbecue for 30 years, 40 years, and it just all sort of fell together after that. I brought him down to take a look at the place, and he got excited about it, and we launched our business, it's now 7 seasons ago.
Well, terrific. Now, so once you got that concept, then you went to town kind of developing this. Now, this is terraced. It's got different levels. Was it like this when you got here? Was there something here that had this shape?
The basic footprint, of course, was here. We put in the bar. We remodeled the bathrooms. We put in the kitchen. The palapa that you see sitting on top of the round building that's down on our beach level was not there, so we built that. And we also brought in 15 dump truck loads of sand and created a beach down below, which was, prior to that, just a dirt parking lot.
Ah, that's how you got that beautiful place where everybody's got the chairs and they just feel like they're sitting on the beach.
Yeah, and a lot of the furniture I had at the other place, so we just brought the furniture up from the beach and created sort of a beach scene. It's evolved since then because we went into also a live music afternoons, and we put bands down on that area, so we've had to, create a little bit different atmosphere down there so that we can support the music.
Sure. Speaking of the live entertainment and stuff, do you do that during the high season, like daily, or couple times a week, or just kind of during the weekends? When do you have live entertainment here?
Well, it's evolved to 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday, and we play in the afternoons. Seems to be a good time to draw the folks up here. We're only open at night on Saturday nights when we do tribute shows to famous artists. For example, this weekend we have an artist coming from Canada who is doing a tribute show to Roy Orbison.
Ah, neat. Now, you are a little bit limited here because, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I took a cab up here. It wasn't that bad. But are you able to call a cab to come from this place?
You can. We can get cabs and Ubers in town now, and so we also have Uber drivers that will come up here. But we consider this place a destination place. And so transportation is largely cabs, people that have their own cars, of course. And then there is also an 04 Route 4 bus that comes right by our gate and drops a lot of people off. Those that understand the bus system here, they come up on the bus.
I was impressed. I got on I hailed a cab today near the Malecon, and I said, how much to go to Rio BBQ? And he says, and he had to look at me for a while, barbecue. And then he knew exactly what I was talking about. He said, Paso Ancho. I said, yeah. So you guys have done a really good job, because most taxi drivers, you tell them the name of a restaurant and they look at you like you got two heads on. I mean, so you're famous enough to actually, for having taxi drivers know where to go. It was 80 pesos, by the way, from the Malecon up here. So just in case and it was an easy trip. So if you don't like buses, if you don't want to get on that number 4 bus, take a cab.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people that's certainly the best way to get up here. And 80 pesos is the current price. It's interesting, the taxi drivers in Vallarta have an interesting history that there are restaurants that pay drivers to drop customers at those restaurants. And so if you don't know exactly where you're headed, you might find that you wind up somewhere else, and that particular driver wants you to go to that particular restaurant rather than come up to El Rio. Mm-hmm. And it's because they get a little bit of a kickback from the restaurant. But we don't do that here. So if you come up for 80 pesos, that 80 pesos is going just to the driver. We don't pay drivers extra.
Good for you. Nobody wants to, pay extra to. Never mind.
To go to a restaurant that they weren't planning to go to in the beginning.
Exactly right. Tell us about this concept here that you've got. Well, the grounds here. I mean, you've got the river going right by. I think you got a swing out there, right?
There's a rope swing out there on the river, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But we recommend it for people that are under 30. So you and I should stay off
and
of it.
Not intoxicated.
Exactly.
That happens a lot here, doesn't it? How is it getting this restaurant started as a gringo? Okay, you have to deal with permits, and you have to deal with builders, and you have to deal with all this stuff. How did that go for you? Did it go okay? Was it smooth?
For me, I would say it was smooth. I'm connected pretty well with the local community, and so I knew people that could help me out in terms of the construction. I got connected with a fellow that built our palapa, and so that aspect was always smooth. As far as permits and licenses and those kinds of things, it's really easier in Mexico. There aren't as many licenses. There aren't as many hoops to jump through, and even fewer out here just because of where we are located. And so that has never been a big issue for me at all, just to get the licensing that we need.
Good to know. How about employees and stuff like that? You run a big operation here. How many people do you have working for you?
Well, it really depends on the day. Average we have 12 to 15, but for example, Fridays are our busiest day of the week, and we balloon up to about 20, 22 employees on that day.
Any issues getting good help?
Well, it's the service industry is a transient industry in some respects, but over the years we've been able to. We hire a lot of the local people here. We tend to hire younger, folks that are just getting into the industry, so that we can sort of train them the way that we perceive service should be. We have a solid kitchen that's worked with us now for 3 years, and of course Hollis is the mainstay there. And as far as the floor goes, well, it's a little bit of a revolving door, but we're looking for good people that can get here easily. And we think we've got a team assembled that's functioning pretty well this year.
Excellent. I'm going to have pictures of this place, which is incredible. You'll be able to find them on my website for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show, www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. If you've been here for 7 years, you've probably seen some crazy things here, right? There's some drinking that happens and stuff like that. Got any good stories? Maybe of your restaurant, maybe the river or something else? Anything that you can tell? No names necessary. You don't have to go there.
Well, I have a couple, but I think that I'll not talk about those particular stories.
Okay, all right, good.
But
okay, go for it.
Well, Barry, there is one story that at the time wasn't particularly humorous, but it turned out that we pulled it off more or less. But just as we were about ready to start one of our tribute shows last year, it was a Neil Diamond tribute. A big cement mixer was coming back down the road and hit the speed bump and bounced up and snagged the power line.
Ooh.
And we lost power to El Rio BBQ. Thus, we lost power to the show. Well, Hollis and the kitchen were able to pull off the dinners and the candlelight because all of our cooking is gas or, of course, the smoked product. And, I'm a guy that takes action, so I was convinced that I went out. And so I got a generator the next day, and I thought, I'll never use this generator, of course. And it wasn't but 3 shows later that we had a general power outage here in Paso Ancho. And we brought the generator out, fired it up. In 5 minutes, we had the performer going again and didn't miss a beat. So that's a story that occurs only out here in the Colonia, I think.
You were the only show in town up
we
here.
We were that night.
Everybody was dark. Well, you could probably see the stars pretty good.
It's really a safe, pretty tranquil place. It's real Mexico, and that's the thing, too, that I think people, when they take the ride up, either in a cab or on the bus, and it's within walking distance from the center. If you're a hiker, it's real easy to get here. But I think that the beauty of the place really is that you get to see how the people that are in the service industry, the locals, how they actually live, and the vibrancy of the community. One of the real things that I noted, I think, which maybe was the attraction, is that how many people live out. They're outdoors here. I know in Portland, where I'm from, you can walk down 6 city blocks in a neighborhood and you don't see anybody. Here, you're not going to walk 20 feet without seeing people outside of their homes, conversing with their neighbors, going to the local taco stands, the local grocery stores, that type of thing. So there's just a much more vibrant community that, from my point of view.
Yeah, excellent. Let me ask you a couple of questions that I ask everybody. When you're not eating at Rio BBQ, you don't do breakfast here, do you?
No.
Okay, so
No.
for breakfast. All right, for breakfast. Where do you like to eat when you eat out?
Oh, I've got, I'm going to probably name 3 of my local favorites. I like Coco's Kitchen. I like the Pancake House. And don't let the name fool you. They've got some really fine Mexican breakfasts on that menu.
Yeah.
And then Freddy's Tucán are probably my top 3 breakfast places.
Okay. How about lunch?
Well, Rio BBQ, of course, is the number one.
Well, yeah, of course. Put that on your list first, guys.
I go to a number of places. I like Barracuda. I like to go to the beach because I'm off the beach, and so I go to Barracuda. If I want a little bit more elegant lunch, you might find me at Daiquiri Dick's on occasion. Those are 2 of the places that come to mind immediately.
Great. Very good. What piece of advice would you give to a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, if they're coming down as an all-inclusive, get out.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the number one. And all-inclusives are huge here in Vallarta, particularly out in Nuevo Vallarta. But it's get out and explore and be fearless, but be aware. As you would in your own city, just be aware of your surroundings. But I've always considered Vallarta to be a very, very safe, small urban area. and that's so. My advice is to just get out, explore, talk to the locals, enjoy yourself. Don't overdrink, because I think that's oftentimes when people get into trouble down here. If they do, it's oftentimes related to the consumption of alcohol. But other than that, enjoy, explore upriver. It's not, Vallarta is much more than beach. There are a lot of tours that bring people upriver. Further up from where we are is a zip line called the Canopy River, but they do much more. They have a beautiful view from up there, and so it's just that. It's explore the area.
Good. What is the one thing that you like best about Rio BBQ?
A simple answer for me is the barbecue. The food here, in my opinion, is at a standard that rivals any restaurant in this city. I like to think of our food as a bit rustic in some regards. We're not gourmet, we're not fancy, but as far as the flavors and the food that we do serve, I would say that's the numero uno for sure.
Well, we're going to talk to Hollis about the food.
Yeah, and then beyond that, I think that I was one of the first to really get a hold of the concept of putting on afternoon music in an outdoor venue. And so that is, and the best, I guess, one of the best compliments that a person can receive is when that concept is copied by others. And so now in Vallarta, we see a lot of afternoon live music in indoor or outdoor venues. And so that's the thing that I think we've done here that at the first 2 or 3 years was sort of unique, and then it's just sort of taken off from there.
Is there anything I've forgotten?
Well, the river is also the third piece is that starting in the early afternoon, and particularly on Saturdays and Sundays when we don't do live music in the afternoons, it's just a wonderful place to bring the family and the kids, and again our Mexican nationals are catching on that we're here, and so if you come out on a Sunday, you'll see a really eclectic mix of folks from all over the world, really. And so the river is really the third feature, and of course you've mentioned just the scenic beauty of the place. So you put you put the barbecue, the menu together, and the music that we do, plus just the beauty of the place along the Rio Cuale. It's a tough place to beat.
That's for sure. Kurt, I'm going to go talk with Hollis now, but I want to thank you for letting me introduce El Rio BBQ and you to my listeners. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, so let's go to you, Hollis. How are you doing? You're from Portland, Oregon, I hear.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so you've known Kurt for a long, long time. Tell us about yourself first.
Well, I'm from Portland, Oregon. I've been in the business for over 40 years doing catering and events. We started up in Portland and actually do food from around the world, and we've actually traveled a lot of places doing the types of food that we do.
All right. So when you say all around the world, where you been?
We've been down to actually Hawaii. We worked in Hawaii for a while. We worked in Australia for a little bit, and in the Caribbean.
So where did you pick up this art of barbecue?
Well, barbecuing is to me is an art, and so you develop it, and you develop it along the years of time that you do it. So our concept here is a smoking barbecue. Barbecue consists of wood smoking, grilling, and barbecuing, and we do wood smoking here.
Okay. Now, was it difficult to get a smoker here in Puerto Vallarta?
Yes, it was, because the size and the type of smoker that we use wasn't available, so we had to go to Guadalajara, had a design and had it built over there out of stainless steel.
I noticed that you also have one that looks like a safe.
Beautiful, yeah, that's a nice.
Man, talk about insulation, right?
Keeps the product safe.
Right.
Yeah, that particular one we use only for fish.
Okay.
We smoke marlin out of that.
All right. So tell us a little bit about this I was talking with you a little earlier about the wood that you use here. That's local. That's local wood that you use to smoke.
Yeah, local wood. It's called wasima. It comes from the jungle. They bring it down to us about every 2 weeks, fresh. That ensures us of a pure smoke that penetrates the meat, that gives it the color that it has. A lot of people look at the barbecue and they see a pink ring and they get afraid about it. Mm-hmm. They don't understand that is the smoke that penetrates the meat that actually gives it the color along with the marinade.
Interesting. So, how long? Now, tell us about the food. I mean, what are you smoking in there? What are you cooking in those ovens?
Well, first of all, the concept from farm to table is it works very well down here because all of our fruits and vegetables and meat products come to us fresh pretty much every day. Oh. And so we have a process that we do for our ribs, our costillas, which is a wet and dry rub together, and then we put them in our smoker. And it takes about 6 hours, depending on how many times we have to open it up to show people.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys you showed it to the other day. So I'm one of the guys that slow down your process. Unfortunately, sorry about that. All right, so you've got ribs. What else? What else are you smoking there?
Oh, ribs, chicken. Marlin is a good product that we smoke. I looked at the marlin. It was around town here, and it had a red color to it, and I wasn't happy with that. So I decided to create a whole new recipe that's pretty simple: water, sugar, salt, pepper. Brine it overnight, put it in the smoker with some of that fresh wood, which creates a smoke that is real delicate for our fish.
So this local wood that you're talking about is different than the kind of hardwoods that you're using in the States, and it's a different flavor too.
A different flavor. It's still very, very hard. It's like an oak or a mesquite, but it doesn't have that same flavor like that. It's just a little spicier flavor.
Oh, neat. Okay. And you say you get these? Is it local? All the meats are local, or
yes, everything is local.
People bring it to you.
We have a source that brings it to us every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Now, these ribs that you make, they're huge. They're like Fred Flintstone-sized ribs. What kind of side? Are you involved at all in the side dishes or stuff? Or are you just strictly Mr. Smoker?
No. I'm involved in pretty much every aspect of designing and the concept of the menu. So.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about your menu. When you order ribs, when you order chicken, when you order the tacos and stuff, what kind of sides do you have out there?
Well, everything is really a la carte, and so what you would put with that, you would put some of our beans that we make every day fresh, our coleslaw, which we shred every morning, and add to it to make it as savory as possible.
Okay, so it's a savory. It's not a sweet one.
No, it's
Good.
not too sweet.
Good. Okay. When you are standing back there, listening to people talk about your cooking, about your food, what are they saying?
The people that are around from around the world, from Canada, Europe, and America, they say these are some of the best that they've ever had, and they compare them to where they're from: Kansas City, New Orleans, the southern parts of America, and also in Canada when they do their big cook-offs. So they seem to think that ours are some of the best.
Must make you feel really, really good.
Yeah, it does. It's worth the effort that we do to put it in and make a good product.
Hollis, after Kurt called you to come on down here and join him for in this venture, and you picked up and moved from sunny Portland, Oregon, down to sunny Puerto Vallarta. How was that for you? Are you good with being here?
When Kurt asked me to come down and he had an idea, a concept for barbecue, he says I was the one that he could think of back in Portland because we had worked together in numerous projects there with the Oregon Food Bank, and it was just a natural. It was just natural. I love Mexico. I love Puerto Vallarta. It was just natural for me to come down and do this.
So you don't regret this one little bit now, do you?
Not at all. I love it here. It's great.
Wow. So you're here full time, or are you both here full time?
Not full time, but I'm here a quarter of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I usually come in November, December, January, February, March. I go back, and then at the end of the year again, I'm back again. So.
Okay. So when you go back, are you cooking? You're on another project, or are you just taking a vacation?
No, I have other projects there in Oregon as well too. I work with a lot of wineries there, doing food pairing with wines.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Where do you like to go when you are not busy, tending your smokers and stuff like that? When you want to get out and go to breakfast somewhere in town, what do you like?
I like Freddy's Toucan.
How about lunch, other than, your own?
Well, I would go to down on the beach. Langostino's is a good place. It's right on the beach there, so I'm
You have
happy
a favorite
with that.
dish at Langostino's?
Oh, no, not really.
No, just anything.
Just anything.
Just
that's good,
feed me.
Yeah.
All right.
It's nice having someone else serve you.
I bet it is. What kind of advice would you give to a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta?
I would tell them to get out and go and investigate all the other little things that make Puerto Vallarta special. Our community up here is a great community, very safe for people to come in and enjoy and see just how people live in Mexico.
Excellent. And you got a favorite day trip, kind of a getaway place that you like to go?
I had the privilege of getting on a boat about 2 weeks ago, rented boat, and going out into Banderas Bay and going over to Los Arcos and visiting, all the little communities that are over there. So that was really exciting for me.
It's always great to get on the water here. And, if you look over to our right here, there's some water going down towards the other water, way over there in Banderas Bay. What is your favorite thing about this restaurant?
Well, I'll tell you, the cleanliness of it is real important. I think that's good. Our water comes right here from the river. It's been purified, and we also purify it here, so it's very clean for individuals to drink and also to go into the river. So that's one of the most important things here for me, that we keep good standards here, and also the consistency.
Okay, so how do we find this place? How do you get to El Rio BBQ?
Well, I ride the bus a lot, so it's easy to get on the bus for $750 pesos to ride the number 4 up from the Central.
Okay, so where do you catch that bus?
The bus stop that I use and is very familiar to everybody is right by the Guadalajara Pharmacia.
Okay, all right, so we all know where that is. I'm going to have a map along with a little. We're gonna have a little. We're all swatting a fly here, you guys. It's pretty. It's not hilarious. Okay, we're gonna go kill it right now as soon as we're done with this. But I'll have a map so that everybody can clearly find El Rio BBQ. I actually have a video of me and my family coming up to El Rio BBQ. So check that out. And I gotta say, Kurt and Hollis, thank you so much for coming on the show today and letting us introduce Rio BBQ to all of my listeners.
Gracias a ti, Barry, por venir y darnos esta entrevista. Gracias.
Thank you so much, and I hope to see everybody up here. If you see us, come and ask to see the grill.
Right on. Yes, you should. I'll have pictures, you guys, but don't go for the pictures. Come on down and check it out. All right, you guys. I cannot describe to you the beauty of this place. So just go to my show notes and see for yourself. And make sure that you make some time and just spend a couple hours at this place. You eat and dance and people watch, drink, play in the river. You really, really need to visit when you come to Puerto Vallarta next time. Now, next up, we travel farther up the road to a place called Paso del Guayabo. And we're going to go visit one of my favorite places, and that's Moro Paraiso. Now, to do that, let's just start with that same number 4 bus that we took from town, and instead of getting off at El Rio BBQ, you stay on that bus all the way to the end of the line. Okay, the bus is going to pull into this little side street. Actually, it's more like a dead end. And then you get off the bus, and then you walk the rest of the way to the restaurant. It's about a kilometer walk on a flat, good road. Okay, and it actually follows along the side of the Rio Cuale. And as you walk along, you are actually going to enter the Ejido El Rio. And we know about this ejido. And also, it is a butterfly sanctuary. At least that's what the sign says as you pass through the arches. And you'll see lots of butterflies there, especially in season. Okay, now if you go all the way up this road, not by foot, but by car or by truck, you will actually end up at Canopy River, where we have taken you before in an interview with Edgar some time back. And I also reported about this great Mexican brunch that me and JR had up there last time I was in town. Also, they have that great, big, huge suspension bridge up there at the Canopy River area. But yet, I digress. We're going to take, let's go back. We're going to take that 1 kilometer long walk to Moro Paraiso. Now, if you have mobility problems and you just don't want to walk, you can hire a cab. And that cab will take you all the way up to Moro Paraiso. Or, for that matter, like Kurt and I said, you can take a cab very reasonably up to El Rio BBQ. It might cost you around about 120 pesos to take a cab up to Moro Paraiso. That's like $6 US. But here's the thing. If you want to get a ride in a cab on the way back, you're going to need to arrange that with your driver when he drops you off because there's no phone service up there. The cab will be happy to come back for you, but you need to make the arrangements beforehand. Kind of tell him when you want him back. And this would be a good time to use an Uber. Looking over at my Uber app right now, and to get from, let's say, Kelly's Por Favor on the south side to Moro Paraiso, the cost would be 81 pesos. That's about $4. Now, of course, prices vary due to the time of day, but the hours that you'll be up there, they're not busy times, right? They're in the afternoon. So anyway, enough of this. Let's go right now to Moro Paraiso. Like I said, I just love this place. It just reminds me of the old Vallarta. Having a peaceful meal, riverside, and the grill and the bar and the tequila and the racia tasting that they have there. The place has a very, very good vibe. And of course, it's a destination location, right? And it's just minutes out of town. So let's go right now to this cool restaurant by the Rio Cuale, Moro Paraiso. Vicente, thanks for coming on and talking with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me on this.
Yeah, thanks for, on last minute, I came walking up and I said, Vicente, you got to sit down and you got to talk with me. And he says, really? I got to do this? And I say, yeah, because you're the only guy around here who feels comfortable speaking a little English with me. So I really appreciate it. Tell me about yourself. Are you from Puerto Vallarta?
Yes, I'm from Puerto Vallarta. And working here 3 years in this restaurant, Moro Paraiso.
Uh-huh.
We up here about 3 kilometers from town, right near to the river, listen the singing birds, the water, and we have local customers every single day for years, and I really enjoy my job.
So Moro Paraiso has been here for 12 years.
Yeah.
And you've been working here for 3, I hear.
Yeah.
So, all right, tell me a little about the restaurant. Could you maybe describe it to my listeners?
Yeah. Well, this restaurant, my boss he started this one in town for 15 years, and then after that they moving up here because they like better the new restaurant up in Ayango on the river.
So where was it? Was it in town?
That was in town and by right in town by the close to the pharmacy Guadalajara, around the corner.
Was it called Moro Paraiso then?
Yeah.
It was. Okay, so 12 years ago he decided, I'm out of town, I'm splitting, I'm getting out of here, I'm going to the jungle.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, I think he made a really good decision because, in town you don't have this kind of elbow room, You got a lot of room here.
We had customers for 20 years. When we moved up here, they followed my boss to come up here because they don't want to. Sometimes people they want to stay out of town, eat quiet, and reading up here. With no noise, they don't want to listen the ambulance or the police, the car patrols. They want to eat in peace up here. It's something different like in town.
Yeah, and they can do that here because all you really get is the rumbling of the rushing of the river here. It sounds so nice.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful up here. The noise of the river.
Really peaceful. You have. I know that walking up the road, there was a little sign that says that this is a butterfly preserve, mariposa preserve.
Yeah, there's some places here. In the spring, we had thousands of butterflies up here.
Yeah, and you also have this little butterfly motif going on here. You've got little butterflies all over this place, which is
they emigrate from South Mexico, and for some reason, the life of these creatures, they love these mountains up here.
Wow, yeah. Well, it's beautiful. When you walk up here, it's like pretty little confetti floating past you every once in a while. It's very, very nice. So, 12 years in this place. When people come here, there's a couple things that happen here, right? You guys have tequila tasting.
Yeah, we started the tequila tasting years ago, and the local customers we give you a taste tequila like a free for samples, all kind of different brands of tequila, and also we sell them tequila too.
Right.
If somebody wants the tequila, we sell it to them.
Well, of course, because this is Mexico, they're going to sell tequila to you for sure. Do you guys do you have like a special, like a house brand? Is there?
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's pretty much that's a good reason to have a tequila tasting kind of a idea there. That is grown up in Tequila, or where is it grown?
They making this tequila up in the mountains, and the name is a Tequila. Yeah. Tequila Jalisco, and they shipping over here the tequila we selling here.
Okay, so they got a house branded tequila, which I understand is very good. And then you also have a bar, a full-on bar it looks like here, and then you've got this this grill and kitchen. So, what kind of food do you prepare on that grill? What do you do?
100% of this food, all the meats. We cook those on the grill, but everything is fresh. The kitchen, all the place they cook, everything is fresh. They're cooking that at the moment. This one of the things that the customers they like that.
They like to have fresh food, and they know they're going to get it from you guys.
Yeah,
and so you got this kitchen that is. You got people working hard in here. Tell us what your menu is like. What kind of things do you make?
We have a seafood and like a New York steaks and ribeyes, and like a vegetarian plates.
Oh, good. So you have some vegetarian options too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. All right. These guys now. these guys have really great everything. I mean, I just had some ribs last time I was here. I think I had some steak. Just a wonderful place to come. You guys make like a shrimp cocktail too, which looks pretty good. I was watching somebody eat one over there. And quesadillas, right? You have that shrimp quesadillas.
Shrimp quesadillas and there's beef and chicken. And the another place we cooking here is the veal shrimps. Those like American style.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. There's the play. There's the play the one we sold in more here.
That's the most popular.
The most popular play.
Popular dish.
Yeah.
And what's it called? It's
beer shrimp.
Beer shrimp.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us how you make it?
We put a little bit cheese inside the shrimp, and we wrap it up with bacon, and this is the way we cooking that. And it comes out with vegetables and rice.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I've had that. So, yes, I agree with you. That's pretty darn good. All right. Well, everybody loves bacon-wrapped shrimp. I certainly do. So that's the favorite. Is there another favorite that people order around here?
Yeah, the quesadilla shrimps.
Yeah.
And the ribeyes too.
Of course.
I mean all the meats. The one is cooked in the grill. We sold a lot that too.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about this. You've got like a swing. You got a swing out there.
Oh yeah, we. I put that shrimp in there because for the kids and also the adults they use it too.
Yeah, I know. I watched.
You have a lot of fun in that.
So this swing, you guys, it's attached to a pretty good sized tree right next to the restaurant, and it kind of swings out over a grassy area right next to the river, and it's beautiful. And it looks like people actually go out and they hike around here too.
Yeah, they go hike around, and sometimes they go down the river and reading and go swimming and hiking too.
Yeah, so you let them come on in here and just as long as they're eating.
Oh yeah, they can stay long they want, and
welcome to stay and read and relax and enjoy the peace and quiet up here by the river.
That's right.
All right, so talking about peace and quiet, sometimes that peace and quiet is interrupted here because you guys get some of these you get groups of ATV guys coming through here, and they stop and they have a meal. So that's pretty good for you guys, right? It's a good way to keep business rolling, keep it going.
Yeah, we have the ATV, these tourists, every single day, and in the morning they come like 11:30, like 60, 80.
Oh my gosh!
And the afternoon the same, plus the local customers.
Right, so it gets kind of crazy. You guys probably are just running around like nuts. Happens, huh?
Yeah, we're working hard, but we have this in control.
Yeah,
we know how to work in this job.
Yeah, you're used to it, and you've done it for 3, and they've been doing it for 12. So
yeah,
that's fantastic. All right, let's move on to another couple of questions because we get a little personal here. We want to know what kind of places you like. So besides coming to Moro Paraiso to have breakfast or just going to your house, do you have a favorite breakfast spot in Puerto Vallarta that maybe you could share with us?
Yeah, my favorite place is a taco stand in town.
Yeah. What's it called?
It's the Robles. Robles Taco Stand.
Okay, so tell everybody where they'll find Robles Tacos. Do you know the street? Or you just know it by the location?
There's Lazaro Cardenas.
Okay. And what?
Right in Lazaro Cardenas, by the Los Muertos. Los Muertos.
The pier?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's way down. It's down near the ocean.
Right around the corner. Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. I've got to go check it out. So Robles.
Yeah.
And what kind of tacos do they make?
There's a goat
taco.
Yeah.
Birria.
Birria, the chivo.
All right.
Yeah.
So and then they got all the stuff that you like to put on there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So keep an eye on that, you guys. Check that. I'm going to have to check that place out. Okay. Robles. Okay. So what about lunch? Where do you like to go for lunch if you're not working? I know you're working all the time.
No, I go to the canopy. I hiking a lot in my days off.
Yeah.
I'm going up to the canopy.
Oh, so you just go up the road.
Yeah.
And they have a kitchen up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just actually had breakfast up there, which was pretty fun. All right. Well, good. And when you go up there, what do you order?
There's a buffet, all kinds of different things like chilaquiles, menudo. They have a lot of different food.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. It's pretty vast kind of a selection there. Okay. So what about dinner? What do you like? Where do you like to go for dinner? What's your favorite place?
Oh, in town too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a restaurant over in town in Olas Altas. Is a Thirsty Cougar is the name.
Ah, okay.
Right next to Angeles.
Yeah, that's one of JR's favorite places. So tell me, what do you do when you go there?
What I do?
Yeah, what do you eat? What do you eat there?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I like burgers
Yeah.
and the steaks.
Yeah. So they have a steak there too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
that's cool. Yeah. That place was hopping the other day. It's right up above Andalays, you guys. So if you need to find it, I'll have links to that place as well. So yeah, those are all good choices. I'm gonna try that taco stand.
Yeah, and also is the owner there is a Canadian.
Yeah.
I used to work in there for
really?
years. Yeah.
Ah.
With Ted and Adriana.
Oh, okay.
They
sure.
own the place.
Okay. All right. So no wonder you liked it. It's kind of like going home, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's pretty cool. What about like a getaway? If you were going to get out of town for just the day, where would you go, man?
I go on the mountains, ride bikes.
Okay. And so when you say in the mountains, where?
Yeah.
Which mountain? You talk about the one right here?
Yeah, well, the mountains passing the canopy way up there in the hills.
Okay.
I have friends up there they live up there, and that's what I do.
So it's mountain biking? It's
Yeah.
kind of like a mountain
Yeah.
bike. You're not
Yeah.
using like 10 speeds.
Both.
Yeah, they're both, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we use the bike, the 10 speeds, or the
Or the
like
mountain bike.
Yeah, mountain bike.
All right, all right. So you can go beyond. You go beyond the Canopy River and like onto some trails. In other
Yeah,
words.
uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Now, what's the deal? What's the law with that? Is there any rules if somebody was to come riding up here without a guide and going on his bike, on the Ejido land? What happens?
Well, if you just stay in the road, I mean, you don't need a guy. You just stay in the road and keep an eye out.
Right.
Till you can
for buses
come back.
and
Yeah.
taxis and be able to find your way home. You mean?
Yeah. Or there's a lot of trails, and if you start hiking here in the river,
Yeah.
there's trail near to the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you just find the river and just follow the river home. Is what you could probably do if you get lost. All right. Well, what kind of advice would you give to a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta? What would you tell them to do? Or maybe warn them to do? What would you say to them?
Take a walk in the Malecon and to the botanical gardens. It's beautiful. And get out of town a little bit, hiking in the river here, and take it to the mountains if they like hiking or if they love the mountains.
Very good. Any other suggestions that? I know what I want to ask you. Do you know of? Well, what would you suggest to somebody if I were to say, what kind of a place? Have you ever been to a place? And we all have. We all been to these places we call a hole in the wall. You walk in not expecting anything, and then you go, wow, this place is really here. Or maybe it's just not a pretty place inside, but the food is just a huge surprise. Any place like that you could tell us about? You could say no.
No.
He's already spilled all the beans, you guys. He's already told everybody his favorite places there. So
But if you're going to eat really good, the local customers, they know where the good places to eat.
Yeah.
Because they come, we have customers for many, many years, and they know where is the good places to eat.
Well, that's because they come here, man.
And now there's another place for dinner, good place in Lazaro Cardenas in town. The name is Tony's Play, please.
Yeah, I see that. Tony's Please.
Please, yes.
That's kind of funny. Why? Now, there's a funny story behind that, isn't there? You don't know, do you? This funny story.
Oh, this maybe it's that one. When he opened that business, he gave it the name. Tony's is his name, and they tried to give it the other name, Place, Tony's Place, and they make a mistake. They write it down, please.
Right. And it stuck. The name stuck.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, man. You know, where I come from, some guy brings a sign and it's spelled wrong. That guy's fired, man. That's that. But that's funny. So when you go to Tony's Please, what do you get there? What do you eat? What do you like?
Steak too.
You like the
Yeah.
steak?
Oh yeah, I love steak.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys wouldn't
Because they
believe
cook in that on the grill too.
You guys wouldn't. Okay, well, good. You wouldn't believe it here, but I'm sitting here with Vincent. Vincent is as skinny as a rail. Now I know why he's thin like that. He's thin because he's always hiking around and he's always on a bike, and he's a very active young man, and so that's why that happened. Is there anything that I forgot? Is there something that we need to talk about before I say goodbye to you?
No, really, no.
No, I think we covered it.
I think so. Yeah.
I want to talk to your boss next, just for a couple of minutes. I know he's shy. Who's the owner? What's his name?
Oscar.
Okay.
Oscar.
And Oscar is the one who brought this place from Olas Altas up to the river.
Yeah.
All right.
That's correct.
Well, listen, Vicente, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on the show. You're very brave to come and talk to my audience, but you did great. You did great,
thank you.
brother.
Thank you.
Great. When you come up to Moro Paraiso, make sure that you say hi to Vicente and let him know that you heard about this place on the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. He'll get a kick out of that. All right. Well, let's talk to Oscar. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you again.
All right. Thank you, Vicente. You did great. Vicente is just so knowledgeable about the area. He knows the biking and the hiking trails around there. Very, very active young man. So if you're interested in that kind of activity, hey, make sure you stop in, have some food and drink, and pick his brain, right? Who knows, you might have a new cycling buddy. Now, I spoke with the owner, Oscar, and because that whole conversation was in Spanish, I am not going to bore you with it. Besides, Oscar was pretty shy, and it was mostly me talking. But Oscar is very passionate about the place and about his grill, his parrilla. And by the way, he has La Punta Raicilla there too. So, if you're looking for the real thing, the type of beverage where after a couple of them, you'll be talking with tables and chairs. They might even be talking back to you. Well, definitely ask him for the good stuff. All right. Enough said about that. I have links to all the places that Hollis and Kurt and Vicente talked about in the show notes for this episode. And I also went down to Robles Taco Stand, and the one with the goat tacos that Vicente was talking about. And wow, he's right. That's great. That's a great place. I'll try to find that. We put that in my show notes too. Okay, well, that should do it for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him, right from his website. Remember, this is a value-for-value proposition, my friends. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him, as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to be using someone else, so just do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he's got his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. He's even working on improving his new website, so check that out. Once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe. It's really easy to do that. And if you have some time, then leave me a good review on iTunes if you want. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And remember, I made it easy for you to do that with each episode I create. So go to my website if you haven't been there already and check it out. Have a look. I have links to places that we talk about, interesting pictures, and more right there in the blog posts and in the show notes for each episode that I create. So go there. All right. And thank you to Kurt Sinner and Hollis Harris from El Rio BBQ in Paso Ancho, and to Vicente from Moro Paraiso in Paso del Guayapo. I have contact information for both places, as well as pictures and maps and links and everything that you're going to need to get yourself up there safely and right back. They're right there in the show notes for this episode at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And hey, thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino interno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta.